everything on glass, why did we need that, right? If you're blending on glass, if you're doing all that, why do we need that? Because this material works very different with an ink mat, especially when you're doing backgrounds, and I'll show you what I mean. When I take my colors of ink and I place it onto this mat versus glass, this was why. This was like the bane of Tonic's existence, because we were so close to having one done, and I'm like, nope, don't really like it, because we were going completely glass. So I thought, oh, this would be great. And then when I started playing with inks, I'm like, nope, can't just have glass, because I need something with that fabric in it. Because when we have ink on those surfaces, if I spray this, my colors immediately start to pool together. Here, they stay as a drip. And I say that because if I go in with paper, all of my colors just pool together and make mud. Here, they're always going to stay those little dots, right? So here they really fade out because of the glass. Here is where I'm getting that print. And this won't allow me to do that because already I have mud. This is designed to actually hold your color. That's the key. So that's why we had to include this little bit of that craft mat, because if you're doing all those inking techniques, this is where I ink. And also because, let's face it, if I'm gluing, I don't have time to keep cleaning up this mat. I don't have time to get out that sanitizer and scrape it. So I wanted something that easily cleans off those sticky mediums. And you don't need that big of a space. That's the other learning curve. You're probably used to inking on this large surface, right? Paul's like, can I get this bigger and cover the whole thing? I'm like, no. You don't need that, right? You'll be able to see that you only need a small amount of space to put your glue on, and you'll have a bigger space to do your making. And now she's like, once you kind of get over that little learning curve, you are going to love the fact that even your little bit of inking, you can do so much more, because you can have this drying over here, do a little inking over here, and you can multitask in your mixed media work. So that's the media mat. So other things that we did, of course, is change some of the tools. Now again, I don't know where all the tools are, but they're all back here on the wall.
Sorry, I couldn't see.
That's fine. You can see that we have gone into change the whole line to black candles. Why? Well, because I really wanted a great media set. I think that even from a retail perspective, when your customer walks in, when they can kind of see that program of like mixed media tools and have everything coordinate, that was really it. And this media mat kind of drove that whole palette change. And I know people are loving the red-handled scissors. They're fans of that. That's fantastic. They're still available, so stock up on all the red-handled anything that you want.
There's no longer available. The small ones are no longer available.
Yeah, but once they sell out, they will be coming out in black. And this will be a running change. I think there's a couple of things that are coming out the soonest, which are the standard scissors and this guillotine trimmer. That's going to be in black. And then everything else will eventually come. The retractable tools, those will be followed up in black. The folding rotary tools, but it just has a much cleaner look. And I think when you come in, you're like, these are your media tools. They mean business. And I think it has more of a neutral palette. Now, with this media mat, there's also replacement mats available. So we actually sell this already rolled up in a box. So if for whatever reason your customer chops this up, inks it up, does whatever, or wants a second one, they don't have to worry about an entire thing. They can just buy this other piece. It's already cut and ready to go onto that surface. It is heat stable, so you can use your heat tool on either surface. You can use an iron on either surface because it is tempered glass, which makes it really, really cool to use. So let me share a couple of tips on Tonic tools and work with them. Sounded like something I wanted.
Yeah, I know. Where's the mic?
I didn't know what it was, but I'm like, it's just water?
I poured myself some.
Oh, because I'm like, it sounds like something I want. Right? Like a little bubbly, some champagne, that's good. Are there a pair of scissors or shears that I could steal?
Just made my mouth water.
Crazy to do a tool demo and there we go. Thank you so much. All right. So, no, this is fine. So a couple things to know. These are just the shears, but a couple things to know about the scissors. And I'm just saying this because in yesterday's demo, there was a lot of people that, wow, they didn't know this about the scissors. A couple things. The handle's totally collapsible on all of the Tonic ones. There's no metal on the outside, so they're very comfortable. They always fit around your hand. You may not realize that. Even the red ones, they're like that. But also the blades are micro-serrated, and they're micro-serrated on one blade. So whether you're using the shears, or whether you're using the snips, or whether you're using the little fine detail, if you do fussy cutting, because I get a lot of emails from people going, when I fussy cut with the scissors, and you wouldn't be fussy cutting with these unless you are a champion pro.
Edward Scissorhands.
Exactly. But if you were doing some fussy cutting with this, do you have a little tiny
Fussy
one?
cutting.
Yes.
There you go. Thanks. So Baby steps. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Thanks. So if you were doing fussy cutting or any kind of detail, you'll know that there's that micro serrated blade. And sometimes when we're doing plastic or vellum, you see that little jaggedy edge that drives you crazy. It is only micro serrated on one blade. So if you flip the scissor over, it will give you that smooth edge on what you're cutting. Okay, it works like that with all the scissors. That micro serrated is what's going to actually keep these sharp. That friction is what keeps the blade sharp. So sometimes, I mean, like on paper, you don't normally notice it, but on certain materials, you'll notice that every cut you make, you get that little ridge, and you're like, oh, dang it, I hate this. All you have to do is flip it over. You're ready to go. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
I know, seriously.
It's a good thing to know. So let's talk about paper cutters. Love paper cutters, and if you haven't tried a guillotine style cutter, you are missing out. Get over the fear of the blade, because man, this is what cuts paper. I've been in the paper craft industry for many, many years, and so many slide trimmers and rotaries that still create the wavy. This is it. So first thing to know about this trimmer, this is the first one that we did in the line, and I did this because I'm really a card maker at heart. I do that more than anything, and so I wanted something that would be very quick and easy for me. Although it has 1/4-inch marks on this grid, it's designed from a card perspective that if I have an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, I can quarter cut it like this quickly, because even though I can measure, if you look on this particular cutter, it has 2 dash lines. Do you guys see that? The first dash line is at 5.5, the second one is 4 1/4. So if I had an 8.5 by 11, I don't even have to look at the measurements. I'm going to lay it horizontal on that dotted line, make my first cut, take the other piece there, and now I've got it, right? Quarter cut, so I can have quarter cut paper. But how a guillotine works is quite simple. When you place this in, you place your paper in, you place your fingers down on the guard, right? That's going to hold down your medium, and it's going to keep your fingers away from the blade, and you're going to make a cut. Now, this is 110-pound watercolor cardstock, but I have the ability to go in and literally trim off as much of that as I want to, okay?
Wow.
It's going to be very, very sharp every single time, because that friction, it doesn't have replacement blades. You don't need replacement blades, okay? It's going to cut that paper. Now, people say, well what about my fingers? If you cut your fingers, that is a choice. Okay? That's all I can tell you. We provided a guide, a guard. If you bring your fingers in there,
It's a choice.
it's a choice. That's all I can tell you.
We can discuss about
That's
that.
right. I mean, I don't know what else to say. We've told you exactly where you need to go, but it makes it really simple to cut, which was the whole inspiration, because I love this trimmer so much, and I like to work at the top of the trimmer. A lot of people like to work at the base of the trimmer, right? They have the paper a little bit closer to them. Maybe they want to read those measurements, and you can use it exactly the same way. That's why this guide is down here, so you can make that cut, all right? But if you have larger paper, larger surfaces, that's where this big guy comes in. Now this one is not new to Tonic. This is one that's been in their line for years, but it's new to me because they put it in the line in the color. That's it, right? So I said to them, like, hey, can I have that trimmer like in this line? Because it's very cool. Sometimes I want to work on larger substrates, larger pieces of paper, like the Ideology paper pads. I want to cut up my paper, 12 by 12 that fits in there. And this is really great because it's very compact. This is the Maxi Guillotine, and this actually can cut 12 by 12 paper. It's a large surface, but it's very compact because everything you need is underneath it, right? So when you flip it over, you're going to remove the handle. That's going to be the push grip handle. These little levers push in, and this is going to remove the extension ruler. I can flip this back over. The handle itself, friction fit, just goes right in there. So it's going to stay in there. It doesn't lock, doesn't latch, it's just friction fit. But then on the side, there's this little trap door. It's like a little spring. So if I'm going to cut a larger piece of paper, like in my studio, this is how I leave it, right? Because normally I'm cutting 8.5 by 11 or just chopping some stuff up to die cut. But if you want to cut a full 12 by 12, you're just going to take that extension, and then that little trap door, you're going to slide it in, and it's going to click into place. And then there is a little kickstand that actually flips out, and that's going to keep that on the surface, right? So when your paper goes out, there's a ridge here, so your cardstock is going to follow that ridge all the way across. So we can take our 12 by 12, same thing, we've got that little spring, and we make our cut. So we can go in and do all of our cutting that we need to do on this, which makes it really cool. If you happen to gum up your blades, you can unscrew this and remove the guard and still clean the blades, right? I normally just take like an alcohol wipe and just go on, or I use my hand sanitizer, which is good. But this guillotine blade, really, really nice, because there again, it's going to be able to make those nice cuts. And this has much bigger finger guards, much bigger pressure, because you can actually cut several sheets at one time on this one. It's really not designed for thick chipboard, but I have cut fabric, I've cut wool, I've cut thinner chipboard, I've cut cardboard with it. It's really a nice cutter to have. And then when you're finished with it, you're simply just going to squeeze those little buttons on the side that pulls this out, fold in the kickstand, flip it over. You can see extension ruler, you know where it's supposed to go. Okay, you try to put it there. It's a choice. All right. And then we're just going to lock that in. Now, if you want to remove the handle, it's easy to remove. Instead of grabbing this and sliding this off, not so smart. Just lay your thumb there and just push it back. Okay? Friction fit. And then that's going to put it there. It seems silly, but you'd be amazed if people put up the arm and hold it. And like, yeah, okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Price point, retail on that?
I think this sells for under $50. It's like $48.99 or something like that. That one sells for, I want to say, 25-ish. I'm not from that world, but yes, it's a pretty good deal. Especially the fact that you have trimmers that you don't need to replace the blades on.
Yeah.
That's really what I like.
Yeah, when you can do this,
it's a big deal.
Worth it.
Yeah, when you can make those cuts, that's it. And this was watercolor cardstock. We're not talking just thin copy paper that I was doing. We were cutting some thick stuff. So one last thing we'll talk about, of course, is this little guy. This is the travel stamp platform. The platform's really great. I can tell that I haven't been using this because I have rules when it comes to my platform. I'll share my rules with you. Share this with your customers. It's really good. What's that? You know it. Like they're about ready to fight.
Yeah,
I can tell I'm not even going to get in that fight. Yes. So the platform, the stamp platform that we originally launched, that's this guy. There's not one here either. I like to show. This is much smaller than the other one. Do you have a regular platform over there?
Baby steps.
Thank you. It's important to see them side by side because, you know, sometimes when you look, you look at an image on, social media or, you're like, oh, it's about the same. It does look the same, but it's significantly smaller. It has a 6.5 by 6.5 inch space. It's all made out of the exact same materials on the top, same magnetic base, same idea as far as clear and rubber stamps, same foam on the base of this. But this is really great if you like to travel or if you like to do smaller things, because sometimes there are people that are just using stamps in their planners, or like me, I love to work on tags, right? Perfect for tags. That's all I really cared about, was that it worked for tags. Also, not mine. I haven't used that. You can tell. When I use a platform, these magnets, if you've never used a product that has strong magnets, mean business. They like to fight. Okay?
Yeah.
They want to clash.
They like to attack your fingers.
And they like to bring you in the middle of it.
So if you have a rule that these are fighters and they have to stay in their corners, you never have to worry about them fighting and you stuck in the middle of it. Okay? Because if they get close, they will attack. Right?
Yeah,
When you least expect it, they will get you. But if they stay in their opposite corners, that's really good. So when I go to use them, I'll place this down. I'll take one at a time. I never pick them both up because they want to fight. Yeah, and you're there, and before you know it, your hands come together, and and then they shatter and they do all that. So if you remember, they always want to fight. So keep that in mind. So when I'm going to place the magnets down, I'm going to place them in their opposite corners. I'm not going to put them both up here. They're both down here, right? Now the platform has this removable top plate. The platform, people say, does it have a top and a bottom? No, not really. It's actually two platforms. It's got the bottom of that base platform and this top platform. This one, of course, has that gridded, that's molded in there. You can see that it's printed also that's clear. So if I'm going to read this, if I'm going to use clear stamps, flip it over if I'm going to use rubber stamps. And then all you do is stand it straight up. It's got this pivoting rod in here that is designed that if it's at an angle, it's going to be attached, but if it stands straight up, it's designed to come back out. Right? So people go, oh, but if I do that, I move it. I'm like, well, I'm really not sure how you're using it. Like, I've never put a stamp and then just flung it over my head. Pretty much if I put the stamp on, it's sitting at the table and it's not really going anywhere. If I'm going to use a stamp, I can place the stamp down. Because I'm using rubber, I'm just going to place that down and that's going to transfer my stamp. I love the fact that this is very thick, so I can go with my ink, whether I'm using distress or archival. So here I'm just going to show you a cool trick besides just stamping, because if you're not familiar with a stamping tool like this, it's designed that if you stamp and you didn't really make a good impression, you could go right back in. But sometimes I like to use that to my advantage. So here I'm just going to swipe my ink to start with, and I'm just going to stamp my image. Now right now it's very light, very faint. With that same ink pad, I'm just going to start going in and adding another layer just in some areas. And now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to stamp it again. And now I'm going to go in and I'm just going to ink even a smaller area. And I'm going to close that up. And then I'm going to ink even a smaller area, and I'll stamp it again. Now, when I'm ready to remove it, go to the corners. Okay?
Why did you do that small areas?
So what we get is we get 3D. So this flower is actually in the foreground.
Because it's darker.
Correct. The rest is in the background. So sometimes you can take a single ink pad and just by multi-stamping it, we get that flower. So when we color it, it already has that depth to it. Simply because we layered that same ink. Right? That's the cool thing. Because sometimes people
really
just,
neat trick.
yeah, just using a single ink pad. Whether we're using a black ink pad or anything that you want, that's going to give you depth before we even color it. So we already have a head start of really creating that dimension just by being able to take your image and stamp it multiple times, right? Because sometimes people go, oh yeah, I'm really good at stamping, I don't need that. I'm like, you could be the best stamper, but I couldn't do that without this, right? Yeah, and that's really the nice thing about working with it. Now, if you happen to get ink on your platform.
Oh yes, tell us. Yeah, what?
All the time, it's
I do
great.
that all the time, and it's really hard to remove. I find it
Nope.
sanitizer. Okay, see, I haven't done that. I've done alcohol.
That's what I used to.
Yep.
Alcohol.
Yeah, the reason is, and you don't need this much, but it's going to remove all of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm buying loads of it now.
It's really nice because it's going to clean it off. It'll clean it off of any of that. Now my stamps, I don't use anything other than a dry cloth, but that will take it off. But that to me is really a very cool way to use a platform. So this, let me just help them out.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really, if you get in that habit, it's a super easy one. You'll never have that conflict because they want to fight.
I learned it the hard way.
Yeah, yeah, and it's when you least expect it, because because you're kind of more concerned of where to put your paper and where to do that, and before you know it, like things come together, you're in the middle, you're freaking out.
casual.
And I know
And
people
then
do the whole
layers.
washi tape and all that, but I find that really challenging to even pick this up. It's like,
I cover them in washi tape,
Yeah.
but they do fight the whole
They
thing.
even fight with the
Yeah,
washi
and
tape.
they
Still
break,
do.
and they
So for me,
break,
it's
and you
like,
find
I just
yourself collecting
remember
pieces.
this
Oh, I never had
opposite
it.
corner. So that's really the cool thing of travel platforms. So between that and the new cutters and the tools and the media tools and the media mat, like,
I'm broke.
I love the fact that this is the kind of tool that if you are a paper crafter, your customers are paper crafter, mixed media, this is an everyday use, especially the media mat. You know, I know that being in the industry for so many years, there's always that cool little gadget and tool that we want and we buy, and maybe we've used it a couple of times because it was really cool. But this is that thing that you're going to use every single day.
When I
And
saw
that's
the
what I love.
release, when I saw you presenting the release of Facebook Live, I thought, okay, it's a glass mat. There's finally something
Yeah.
I don't need.
Yeah.
That lasted for 20 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, I was
That's what
strong
it was.
enough
And it's funny
not to
because I
put
just
them in
bought
my
the
car.
tonic one.
Yeah.
And I didn't
that's
know,
the
and
thing.
I'm like, oh.
I saw the tonic one and I'm like, this is cool. And they're like, you want one? I'm like, yeah, but not like that. Like, what do you? And then he would send one. I'm like, okay, take off those lines. I don't know what they do. Okay, take off those lines. You know what? Let's just start fresh. Let's build our own line. And so, but and then of course when it's all done, we did it. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really like it white. Let's like invert
Make
the
it
art. Let's do
black.
it black and white. So. Thank you, Will, for doing all of the design. And
we
when
all
he did the
drank it
boxes,
too,
I'm
like,
like,
so.
can you make the boxes a little bit bigger? And I only want this many across, and I need this at the bottom. Yeah. But I think at the end, we have a product that everyone can really relate to, and you have that space. And
That we all want.
again, from a mixed media aspect, once it becomes your space, you are going to embrace it in more ways than you can imagine. Really, the fact that I can have all my wet, messy gunk here, and I'm not afraid of ruining an area, and I've defined my creative space, you're gonna love making on it. And I've even found that, before when I would be in the middle of a project, I would clean everything up because I wouldn't have a place to put that half-made project. I have a place. It can stand my media mat. Everything can be there. I can pick up my mat, set it aside, go about my work, and when I want to do something else, like, I'm back in business. So it really has. I mean, I said it was a creative game changer, and I meant it. It's changed the way I can create because I have a space. So, any questions on anything? Yeah, nothing. Cool stuff.
We drank
Yeah.
it too, like, don't
You
worry.
did good.
Yeah. They did great. I mean, really, from just being at the show last year when we first had the conversation, I'm like, I would love some tools, and we have some great things coming. Like, We haven't
So
stopped.
we must be prepared for some more new
Yeah,
things. Oh my God.
There's going to be a lot more tools, but everything that's going to make sense. Nothing that's going to say, oh, you should have waited for the new model of this thing. No, it's not that.
It's
something
new.
Totally different. But again, in mixed media, it's important to have tools. The right tools make all the difference. The right space that you have, and maybe not everything's for everyone, but I think having this choice of what things that you can work with, like this thing, I thought I'm only going to use it to clean. I use this stupid thing for everything now, right? Because it has that glass and it's not going to work if I'm going to put down my ephemera and I want to burnish it super quick to go in and smooth out my ephemera. If I'm going to do rub-ons, I've been using it for that. If I want to go in and just quickly score some paper, I've been using this because that's never going to dull. Yeah, because that actually kind of dents that whole plastic scraper. That's the thing, where this is never going to have that dull aspect of it. Because yes, I have seen those scrapers, and after you use them, you need to replace them because they're chewed and notched and all that. And that's why the material, we wanted something different. Yeah, Mario already took one.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll take that.
Is it how many centimeters and inches?
Yes. It's just printed smaller.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sharp.
So that's going to be the outer measurements there. Yep.
Same way cutters.
Cool. There you go. Yes. Yeah, and actually I didn't even talk about that in Facebook Live about centimeters or inches the first time. Yeah, because I don't think like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I knew there's little numbers out there for a reason. But I just thought those were really fussy measurements. I'm like, I'm not going that far. Yeah. Because even these numbers, I still count boxes. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. Okay, like I won't even
No
bother
5/8
to.
for you.
Yeah, it's easier for me. Yeah, because sometimes, you know, I don't know, measuring kind of slows me down. That's why on that trimmer, that whole little dotted line, even to quarter cut paper, it was just, that's what I'm going to use it for more than
Il link è sempre lo
anything.
stesso,
Then
è
everything
sempre
else I
nero,
can
è
totally go
solo
in
con un
and
colore che si crea l'effetto 3D e si può fare solo con la MIST. Leggo adesso i commenti, è solo la MIST piccola, cioè la MIST piccola, scusate, lo stamping tool piccolo. Certo che non è una novità, è solo più
And I mean, you
piccolo.
have to admit, like,
Adesso non posso tradurvi perché sta facendo la demo, però è veramente tutto molto bello.
It's just pretty. That's all I can say. All right. So we got a giveaway coming up. Everybody put in a card.
How do we get a card?
I think you put in a business card in with someone
There's a bag here.
in that bag. You put in a business card. That's a good bag. And you must be present to win.
Cela.
Yeah.
Foto. Facciamo foto.
All right. Very cool.
Il piatto è fantastico.
The medium mat's actually
No, una que te di.
like
Gracias
right
que te la
after
di,
the show.
porque así. No, tengo más en la habitación.
I'm gonna say like mid to end of February because I think
No, gracias, qué bueno que te la
Are
di.
you gonna get it before the US? Like does it land in the UK a little quicker? I think for tonic, most of the stuff in the UK is a little quicker than the US because it has to get to California, get processed, and so they get their stuff turned around a little bit quicker. So that's also another nice thing about tonic for you guys is that you don't have that delay of stuff in the US and you won't get it for a while. Like, you kind of pretty much beat up to the point.
Io direi che più che un venditore nato è un artista, ha un entusiasmo in quello che ci mostra che è una roba che noi in Italia ce lo sogniamo neanche da lontano. È contagioso.
Get this stuff cleaned up and I'm sure they're going to do their drawing in just a minute.
Adesso chiudo,
Isn't that cool?
Sì, ma secondo me arriva per il tuo compleanno, Erika.
It's simple. I want to try it.
Techniques. It's just, it's something else to do with something that you stamp. Because again, there's a lot of people that go, oh, I stamp perfect all the time. That's awesome. That's great. So why don't you use your inks to your advantage and do something a little different? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Kind of point it on the table like that, and you'll hear it. You'll hear the sound of it, right? It has that, right?
What is it made out of? I didn't hear.
It has some glass particles
has
and
glass
plastic.
particles.
See it? Yeah.
Is it sold separately or
It's
does
sold
it come
with
along?
the edge.
With the
Yeah.
okay.
Because
Yeah,
you
but
don't need to
separately from
replace
the
it.
mat.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's what. Yeah, people are like, oh, I need a replacement. I'm like,
No, that's
You
true.
don't,
You
no.
don't.
you know, and that's another thing that if you were going to score your cardstock, I wanted the ability that you can put this and then go in and score your card. That's why there's that little finger indent, so we can do all of our scoring if we wanted to. Yeah.
This makes, I feel like I'm an architect or something. Like
Yes,
very,
but
like,
I love this
that's
because there's
really-
no stress because there's no measurements.
Right.
That's what I love about this.
Yeah.
This doesn't freak me out. This is just a clear stick. Yeah. Like, what are you printing on? I'm like, nothing.
Nothing.
You want a little, I just want a stick that I know is a straight edge, right? Because there's already measurements here. So if I really needed to measure, I've got that here. This is just to provide a straight edge. Yeah, otherwise you overthink it. All right, let me return these. Is Gary doing the drawing? You don't even know if you see